Ask America.
Welcome to Aaron Ask America. On today's podcast, I have my good buddy Chris from church. He asked to be on the podcast. I was excited for him to be on the podcast. Low key, like whenever I had this idea, I was like, hopefully Chris asked to be on the podcast. And when he did, I was like, yes. So him and I have become friends. Over the past? How long have you been going to the church?
Been a couple of years. I'm not very good with time.
Me neither.
So I think we're right at 3 years now.
Nice. So we've known each other for 3 years, but thank you for coming on to the podcast. I enjoy talking to people that I know because it makes it easier as I start to transition into people that I don't know, which basically was like 2 episodes ago. I kind of had somebody that I didn't really know, and then I think Chandler, even though I knew Chandler, but I didn't know him, so like just edging into the point where I have somebody on here that I don't know, like at all. So, so the tough question right at the beginning, Batman. Who's your favorite iteration of Batman, and why is it Ben Affleck?
It's not.
Oh,
And it's not Ben Affleck because I don't think I've seen that Batman with him in it. So my favorite one is Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though the real Joker is Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So your favorite version of the Joker is like gangster version?
I like the way Nicholson did him.
Yeah.
I think Heath Ledger's was pretty good. I haven't seen any of the new stuff. I've kind of really turned like everything off. And
Yeah. You're not missing out. Jared Leto's Joker wasn't the best. Even though he wasn't given a proper script to kind of deal with, right? He was in Suicide Squad. He had a very small role in it, and he was he was a gangster, but like, so Jack Nicholson, your favorite version of the Joker, is considered the gangster version of the Joker, right? So Jared Leto's was kind of like gangster, but it was like more modern. Because did you ever see a picture of him? He had all the tattoos.
No, I've seen Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay. So you know him from that. Yeah. So, did you see The Batman with Robert Pattinson in it? It came out a couple years ago.
No.
It was more detectiveness than anything. So there's a deleted scene that for whatever the movie is almost 3 hours long, right? There's like a deleted scene of like 10 minutes. Like the movie's almost 3 hours. Why didn't you put this scene in here? But like Robert Pattinson's Batman goes to, I don't think it's Arkham. I think it's Blackstone. But anyways, he goes to the jail to talk to the Joker. And they cast this guy as the Joker. They took him completely out of the movie because he's, I guess, going to be in the next one. But the conversation between Robert Pattinson's Batman and this other Joker was top tier. Because did you ever see the movie Silence of the Lambs? Mm-hmm. It was similar to that, where Jodie Foster would go to Hannibal Lecter for help, and that was basically what Batman did. Is Batman sat down to talk to the Joker because he's trying to find the Riddler, which he didn't know it was a Riddler at the time, and they had this phenomenal conversation because it had been a year since Joker had been put in jail. We don't see any of that. This is all predates the movie starting, so they have had this relationship a year, and it was just a really cool conversation. So I can't wait for that Joker to actually appear fully on screen because they did this whole thing where it was like zoomed in like on the side of his face where you can kind of see stuff going on, but you don't get a full-on look on what this guy looks like. But yeah, I can see why Christian Bale, because Christian Bale has been the dominant Batman for quite a long time.
Well, to me, it was like a reboot. And
Yeah.
some reboots are good, some aren't. And I thought that was a good reboot. I thought it was gritty. I thought it made it more real, kind of down to earth. Like, what would it look like if it, could potentially be more real life? And
Yeah.
that's what it was to me.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first 2 movies, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Could have done without Rises, and I don't want to get into too much of that, but like the premise, like I knew I didn't like the movie, and then I heard a podcast where a guy who loves Batman way more than me told me the reason why. He told the audience, not me directly, but he told the audience why he hated it. And when he said that, I was like, that's it. That's the reason why I didn't like Dark Knight Rises. You have Batman, who, you know the reason why he became Batman, right? His parents were killed in an alley, so he makes a an oath to himself that he was going to try and stop this from ever happening to anybody ever again.
Right.
Fast forward to The Dark Knight. Rachel dies. I don't want to be Batman anymore. And at the time, so Batman begins, right? So you have, let's say, 6 months of him in Gotham being Batman, and then the Joker starts up immediately after Begins because it ends with Commissioner Gordon saying, "We have this guy." He gives him the card, and he's like, "I'll look into it," right? And then the next movie begins. So if the Joker movie took, let's say, 3 or 4 months for Batman to resolve, which I don't think that it did, but let's say it did. So he was technically Batman for less than a year before he stopped being Batman, because at the end of The Dark Knight, he stopped being Batman because Rachel died. So in this Batman Dark Knight universe, he was Batman for maybe a year of his life before he abandoned it and then gave it to that dude at the end of Dark Knight Rises. And I was like, that's what it was. That was the missing piece in my brain as far as the reason why I didn't like Rises, because he made this oath and then he just abandoned it. It was kind of weird.
People do that.
Yeah, that's true. But it's Batman.
People do that.
But he's Batman. All right, so let's move on from the Batman. I think we spent way too much time on Batman. So let's. I like to ask the question as far as like your childhood, right? So when it comes to your childhood, was there like a certain game that, like, I can't believe I don't know this answer. Like, do you have any brothers or sisters? Mm-hmm. Like, how many?
I've got two brothers.
Oh, so like, are y'all close in age?
No.
Oh, okay. So y'all didn't fight, or did you?
Not my next youngest brother and I would fight off and on, but he was 4 years younger than me. He had some health issues when he was really young. Mom got some bad doctoring advice, and he was misdiagnosed and led to some issues, and he had kind of a complicated growing up. So I was really kind of nervous or scared to really do too much, because not to mention the fact that Mom would and Dad
Yeah. Get the
bring
belt
down
after
that.
you? Yeah. So was there like a game that all three of y'all used to play?
The three of us together, I mean, there's like 8 years between
Yeah.
my youngest brother and I.
That makes
so,
sense.
not really a whole lot, even though my youngest brother lives relatively close to me now. And we see each other more than I've seen my middle brother in years, but which is neat. But no, I guess the only game that I would play with my brothers, or brother really, I never really played much with my younger brother except for some board games when later on, but that was way later on. Typically, we'd play baseball, well, wiffle ball, in the backyard, and we'd play that pretty incessantly.
Nice. Like, would you knock the ball over the fence, and was there a
And that was a
huge
home
dog?
run.
Yeah. Was
No,
there a huge
no,
dog?
no. Behind us was a church.
Oh, okay. So,
So if you got too good a lick, or when we decided we'd grow up and start using tennis balls, then
tennis
it was
balls.
over.
Yeah, tennis balls wouldn't last that long, and
Oh no, they
you
were
know,
gone.
they were bouncing off the church building, right?
Oh yeah, going out bouncing clear across the parking lot, and you'd have to run for days to go get them, and yeah, not fun.
So, as far as that goes, like, was that the church that you would go to, or does
Nope.
that just happen to be a church in the
Actually, I
backyard?
don't know that we ever went to that church ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but and we went to a few different churches. Um, I moved around a lot when I was really young, and
Was your dad in the military?
no, he was at that time. He was out,
Mhm.
and I'm not really sure why we moved so much. But when you're young,
Yeah, you're
you're just
just
along
like,
for the ride.
yeah, you're just like, oh, because we moved for the first time that I remember. So whenever I was a baby, we lived out actually close by the church. My parents just didn't go to that church at the time, but we lived over there. So like, if you keep going toward the church, you go over the railroad tracks. We were across the tracks. That's where a house that I was born in was.
Interesting.
And then my parents moved out to East Texas, but that's when my memories, I started making memories is when we were in East Texas. So like when I thought we were going to be there forever, and then they had no discussion with me, and maybe you had the same issue. They came and got me from school. It was like in the middle of third grade, and they were like, "Hey," the principal or whoever came and got me, like, "Hey, it's your parents are coming to get you." I was just like, "Why?" And like, I don't know. It's time to go. Let's go out. And then my parents were like, "All right, we're going to East Tech, well, further east, but like it's over by Tyler." And we just moved. Like I had no clue I was about to lose all my friends. Zero, zilch. In the middle of third grade, middle of the year, it was like, all right, bye, gone. And so like, is that what happened with you as well?
So mine was the first one like that was kindergarten graduation. Go right through graduation, right off into the car, and go to some new house.
Yeah.
Next time, so we lived in that house. That's where kind of the bulk of my memories are, is in that house. We lived there for right at 6 years through elementary school, and then somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks into my seventh grade year, we moved.
No discussion. You just moved, or did you kind of know?
He went back in the military
Okay.
and got transferred, and so I don't recall it being a lot of notice to us.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we're in different location, and may as well have been from outer space where we moved to.
Yeah. So when I was in the small town in between here and Tyler for my third and fourth grade year. So I just reestablished myself, got some friends, and then it was time to go again. So we moved over here to the Dallas Fort Worth area in my fifth grade year. So I was basically a country boy, if you could believe that. I was a country boy because I lived out in the sticks. We had like a 24-acre backyard when I lived in the really small town in Texas. And then we moved to the smaller town or a small town over by Tyler. And then so when I came here, it was really tough to make friends because the fact that the first day, I remember my first day, I walked in with like one of those button-up shirts that has the buttons that snapped.
Okay.
And it was like the
I remember
squares.
kind of like a rancher.
Yeah, like boots, jeans.
Yep.
Yeah, that was not
The
was
look.
not the look to show up to in city boy. And then we've been ever since. So I didn't have to move after that. But yeah. So moving from like a freelance house, did y'all move on to the military base itself?
So my ninth grade year was probably the most interesting because I was in 3 different schools in 2 different states
Wow. Okay.
within the first 6 months of my ninth grade year. So that was an interesting year. So started off where we moved from seventh grade. So I started ninth grade there. Things are going really good, hot, straight, and normal. And next thing you know, we're moving to New York. And so we were in temporary housing because there wasn't any housing. So we lived in a trailer on base for something like a week or 2 weeks.
Really?
And it was like 6 feet of snow outside. And we're up at Fort Drum. And they put us into temporary housing. And so we were there, a little one horse town in New York. And
You said with snow on the ground, like with the temporary, you said trailer, like was it hard to keep it warm or?
I don't really. I mean, I don't really remember. It was kind of a whirlwind.
I'm
at
sure
that
three
time.
three
Everything
schools,
was
yeah.
cold, so I wouldn't be surprised. Everything was cold. I think every winter we were cold, like frost on the windows.
Yeah,
So,
what state where did you spend the bulk of your time in?
the bulk of my life is probably split now between Arkansas and Texas.
Okay, well, I meant like as far as like kid, because I was trying to get an idea.
As a kid, the bulk of it would be in Arkansas.
Okay, so basically southern. So you went from a southern environment to New York buried in snow.
Well, actually, I started in New York, then
Oh,
went to Arkansas, and then went back
so
to
you,
New York.
so you had an idea what you're getting, or at least an idea for from a kid's perspective, like what to look out for when the snow hit New York, or
Uh,
no?
no, I think I was still too young. Just
Mm,
painful memories of people putting snow in my face, and
yeah. What branch was your dad a part of?
well, so in Vietnam he was with the Seabees, so he was Navy, attached to Third Marine Division up near the DMZ. He was way up there,
Mm,
like less than 2 miles from North Vietnam.
wow.
Yeah. And so he was at Quai Son, which I'm sure you may have heard about in school.
Yeah,
But he was there, and he was at Dong A, and that was the base that was like 1.6 kilometers from North Vietnam,
that's
something like
wild.
that. And
So he was in the stuff, as they would say.
so his third day there, uh, he was going up Route One, going to their duty station. If I don't know if he'd even been issued a rifle or ammunition yet, they got ambushed. And he said there was a Marine that had his leg blown off. He's like, "Don't worry, we'll protect you." He's like, "Great."
Yeah. Let me pick this up, and I'll protect you going forward. That's craziness.
Yeah. And
Now,
so
do you know was he drafted or
oh
did he
no, he
enlist?
he volunteered.
Okay.
He and his brother both volunteered. Um, and the weird thing is he turned down a scholarship to play football at Syracuse. He didn't want to go to school.
Wow. All right then. So Dexter and I know this isn't the same, but Dexter and I just watched We Were Soldiers, so he has an idea. I know the battle that takes place in that movie is a lot different than, let's say, if I showed him the movie Platoon, where they were just going through like forests looking for people, which is a wild concept when you think about it. But like he
I guess
actually,
that depends on where you come from.
well, I mean, it's like the guerrilla warfare is wild to me. It's wild to me, just like the gentleman warfare from when we won our revolution, right? Just standing in a line and hoping you don't get shot. That's wild to me. That's a wild thing. Like we went from that to somewhat guerrilla warfare, tiny bit, a little bit guerrilla warfare, and then we went to trenches in World War One, which is another wild thing. Like, all right, we're gonna dig a hole and we're gonna run that way, and let's see if we can take that hole over there. It's wild to me, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like you as a soldier deal with the duty that is put in front of you. So whether it's walking through the forest searching for people in holes, or standing in a line and hoping you don't get shot, or standing in a trench waiting for you to hop and run through no man's land, it's craziness. War is crazy.
It is. And it's one of the things that didn't take me very long to realize. You know, it's all fun and games watching movies growing up.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do growing up was playing army. You know, I was all about it, and pretty well destined to be in the military from the time I was in grade school.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Was it your dad being in the military that kind
This
of
was
gave you the
even
itch?
before that.
Yeah. So like GI Joe, you're like,
Oh, I
that's
love
me.
GI Joe.
Yeah.
You know, come home from school, GI Joe, Transformers,
Mm-hmm.
G Force,
Yeah.
the real one.
He-Man. He-Man.
Not he didn't exist yet.
Oh,
He came a little bit
yeah, he
later.
was 81. He was 83, I think, through 85. I think is when He-Man was on the air.
Hey, he was on after that too.
Oh yeah, he's been on the air ever since, right? Because he's the most powerful man in the universe. So why would you take him off of movies? So GI Joe, like, what was some other shows that were like that? I guess GI Joe was the only one that dealt with military stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you had things like Star Wars that
Yeah.
would kind of touch on it, other things like that. But other than that, watching war movies growing up, watching the Fighting Seabees and uh, various John Wayne movies and the Longest Day and things like that.
Yeah. So what is your favorite, or is there a favorite, or can you even say that? Can you have a favorite war movie,
Uh,
or is there one that you tolerate?
Well, actually, one of my favorites to watch, and I do it pretty well annually, is to watch the Band of Brothers.
Yeah, totally.
That's one of my favorites. It's not really a movie, but
Yeah.
that's one I like to see. Um,
I have probably seen that show probably 20, 30 times in my life. I went to show him the series, but I don't know what his relationship is to media, but like he stopped asking to watch it, so we stopped after my favorite episode, which was the medic episode. That's just
uh,
it's a tough episode
yeah,
to go through, but that's my favorite just because it centers around the guy that's running around trying to get stuff done. So like episode opens up and he's like, "Hey, I need some scissors." Well, I heard that Garnier's got scissors. He goes over to Garnier. Garnier's like, "I need some socks. If you can find me some socks, you can have my scissors." So it's like a video game where like you keep on getting these quests and you keep on getting these
side
rewards.
quests.
Yeah, you get these rewards and then you just here it is, right? So I mean it's my favorite episode just because, but as a whole, right? And I think maybe you agree since it's your favorite. It's like this perfect 10 episode miniseries that follows easy from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal. I love it.
So I probably read more than I've watched.
Mm.
That was I didn't like to read when I was young. My dad gave me a book called Guns Up and said, see if you like this. I read that and it was just like a whole new world opened up for me. And that was my genre. If I guess now if you look at my library, I've got two different segments of book. I've got war and I've got Bible. And there is nothing else.
And strangely enough, it's the Bible. All the Bibles are open to Revelation. It's real weird.
A lot of Old Testament in there. But
Oh,
there are some other things I kind of pick and choose. Like we would just watch Black Hawk Down last night. A buddy of mine was in Mogadishu, a guy I went to high school and boot camp with.
yeah,
I actually ran into him the day before I got out on the beach, and he had just rotated back from
yeah.
Mogadishu.
What's crazy is like that movie is great too. To me, I thoroughly enjoy it. And the thing that captivated me, because my dad raised me to be not only respectful just as a person, but also respect the blue, respect the military, because if they mess up, they mess up. But that's not what I mean. But like just respect it. So like whenever I watched Black Hawk Down in the theater, as I was watching it, my brain was just like, this happened during your lifetime. Like these voices, this text may not be exactly what they said, but these men went through all of this, and it just blew my mind that I was sitting at home, like I can't remember what year it happened, but like whenever the Black Hawk Down happened, like I'm at home probably playing video games, and these two snipers are like, I know I'm going to die, but we're going to go protect
Yeah.
our military guys. So like it's wild to think that all this happened like while I was sitting at home staring at the sky,
Yeah.
right? So watching that movie, I had like a ton of respect for. I mean, I have respect for military in general, but like the scene that made me mad was when they had to run to get
Back
back.
to base.
Oh, I was so mad. I was like, why? I mean, I knew why because of the movie presented it, but like, I think Black Hawk Down is phenomenal.
Another movie that we like to watch is The Outpost, about a group holding an outpost in Afghanistan.
I guess I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's got Scott Eastwood in it. It's a pretty good movie. It's
Okay.
another one based on true story.
Yeah, Scott Eastwood, so that means it's relatively recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple, he got CMH. The guy that he was portraying got the CMH there, and a lot. They gave out something like 16, 18 high decorations,
Wow.
but it was bad.
Yeah. I don't like. What is it about?
Uh, Basically, it's an outpost up in the mountains, but where the outpost is, it's in a valley, so it's overlooked by all kinds of mountain ranges.
Yeah.
And they try to tell people, hey, this is bad. We need to, shut down, get out of here. People just kind of stringing them along, go through two different COs in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
One of them gets killed in an accident. Another one gets blown up. and then they get another one, and he won't come out of the CP,
Gee, I wonder why, right?
and he gets replaced, and then yeah, it's just kind of crazy. And then they get hit, and they got hit real hard, uh, and they basically fought through the day, into the night, and finally got enough air support because they couldn't bring air support in because of the weather.
Mm.
And
Once you get air support, you're good.
oh, you're better.
Yeah.
So actually, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know all of the real details, because even like we were soldiers, there are some things. Matter of fact, if you remind me to come back, there's a deleted scene that you can only get on the DVD. That's not in the movie. And
Really?
it's one of my. It's not very clean, but
Oh.
it's one of my favorites. But you know, some of the details are always Hollywooded.
Yeah.
And but in the movie they bring in B-1 Lancers and they drop on the mountain ranges. So I mean that's a lot of munitions you're dropping, and they're dropping them danger close. And
Yeah.
That's
In real life, not that close. Probably would drop it that close. Is that what the?
oh no, when you go danger close, you're dropping like right on top of yourself.
Mm. Okay.
I mean you run the risk of dying just like they do, but it also means you're being overrun.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as your military, like, I know the answer. I'm just asking, but like, what branch did you end up joining?
I was in the Marines.
Hmm. And what did you do there?
So I was an aviation electrician, not very glorious compared. I originally signed up to be infantry.
Oh, really?
You know what I wanted
On purpose?
to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm relatively good hunter,
Mm.
very good shot, and wanted to test my wares out. Um, Being on the army base and around surrounded by all kinds of army guys, rangers, special forces, they're all infantry. Is because we're up at Fort Drummond's 10th Mountain, Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
They went to the 10th Mountain to help support them, and they're the ones who came in and with the Pakistanis, but they're the guys that are based out of Fort Drum. These are the guys I was surrounded with, played tennis with them, basketball with them. You know, I'm around these guys. I went fishing with them. I mean, these guys were my neighbors.
Yeah.
And, from captains on down to, privates and everything in between. And my dad actually used them as a point of reference. He's like, yeah, he would tell me these guys, by name. What happened to him? Well, he got a medical discharge. What's he going to do now? I don't know. Can he do what he's doing in the military? No. What about this guy? And he would just go through a list of people that I'd seen and knew firsthand that were getting medical discharges because they got hurt. He's like, what skills do they bring to the world?
Yeah.
You can't run around the streets killing people for a living. Or at least you can, but it's not a very good life.
Yeah.
And so he basically talked me out of doing that and to taking a trade. And I scored so high on the ASFAB that the recruiter basically took the MOS sheet, threw it at me, and said, pick something. Literally, the whole thing was open. I could have picked whatever I wanted.
I would like which one is the most highest paid job? That one.
Well, they all pay the same.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
well.
just different trades. So I always liked aircraft.
Hmm.
Again, reading about different fighters and bombers and tanks and all that. Didn't want to be a tanker because I knew there's no real tanks out in the civilian world.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good. Maybe we need to talk to you afterwards, because one of the things that Dexter has talked about doing is joining the Air Force and using his time to learn a trade while also serving his country. So, like, maybe there's some trades out there that you could say, you know what, if you do decide to do this, maybe you should be like an aviator pilot, or not pilot, but mechanic or something like that, because if he serves and let's say he doesn't like it and he gets out in 2 or 4 years, whatever his contract is, he could always go to that place down the road?
Well, you can. So they've made a lot of changes since I was in. I won't tell you how long ago that was.
5 or 6 years ago, I know.
Yeah. But they made a lot of changes where they actually helped these guys. So when I got out, I went to, Lockheed, Raytheon, all of these guys. And you're like, do you have a degree? Well, I mean, technically, yeah. I had my electrical engineer degree without having a degree. I've done all the electrical engineering classes, every one of them. That was my MOS. That's what
Yeah.
we did. But I didn't have the piece of paper with the degree. And so even though I've got hands-on experience on a plane,
Yeah.
I didn't have the rank minimum that they were looking for, which was E6. And when I was in, Clinton was in, nobody got promoted. Everything was locked. I was my rank forever. There was no hope. The only way the other guy who was my rank got promoted was a meritorious board.
What does that mean?
I mean, it means he got a meritorious promotion to the next
I see.
grade up.
Okay. Or
And
they left, right? So it's like that position had to be vacated for you to.
Well, even then, they were downsizing,
Mm.
so there's nowhere to go. So everybody that timed out in my unit had to change. So a couple guys like Mav, we'll just say Maverick, you know, another guy had to go into the Army because they couldn't stay in Marines because there was no room for them.
It's wild.
And another guy had to leave the aviation field altogether and go to embassy duty to get promoted and
Yeah.
stay in. And he ended up going to Israel. Pretty cool
Yeah.
gig there he got. But the only one that I know that was able to stay was a guy who got the meritorious promotion.
Yeah, I know that there's been a little bit that changed. I don't know if the post 9/11 bill was around, or is it called the GI Bill, I think is what it is, where they pay for your college after you get out.
Yeah, I didn't read the small print on that, and it timed out on me by the time it came around to use it.
Yeah, so I mean that's one of the things I told him, that if he decides to join up, then while you're in, take advantage of all the schooling that you can make time for, and then
Well, see, the difference now is that he can actually get his certifications and degree in that field now, whereas
Yeah.
all we did was get all the classes to do it, but no degree.
Yeah.
They can actually get their degree now.
Okay.
So they actually have changed that and made it a lot better for the people behind us.
Yeah, it should be that way. It should have been that way from the very beginning. That's weird that's like a recent change within the last 5 or 6 years.
I don't know how far back it goes, but
No,
it's
I was just saying you've only been out for 5 or 6 years. But like when you were in there, what was the, like I know that you said you want to go in as infantry, you went in as aviation mechanic, but like what was the ultimate goal before you were bookended by Clinton?
well, again, you have a concept in your mind of what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
But all you know is movies. Like, to this day, one of my favorites is Full Metal Jacket, up until they graduate. Well, okay, all the way up to the door gunner.
Yeah.
After that, I turned the movie off.
Yeah.
But it's kind of freaky how close to reality the boot camp is. So,
Or at least it used to be, right?
yeah, okay, for me. But I don't know what it was, what it's like now. I heard they're trying to change a lot of that back. But yeah, there's a lot of remembrances that came to mind
Yeah.
watching that.
I have a buddy of mine, or he's a previous buddy. We're not buddies because he moved away, and we just never kept in touch. He was a Marine, and he told us some of the stuff that they put him through during boot camp, and I was like, "Bro, no, like why?" And he's like, "Marines, ooh." He had like an M because he was back. He calls it back before he got saved, right? So not that tattoos mean anything, but he had like "oorah" like tattooed on the inside of his lip. So anytime that he would jokingly say "oorah," he'd be like "oorah."
Nice.
But yeah, some of the stuff that he said. So I can only imagine the stuff that y'all had to go through. Was there anything like, to go back to the thing that you and I spoke about earlier with Band of Brothers, did they ever let you eat and then right in the middle of food, they're like, time to run?
So we had something more special than that. Boys were eating duck. That means we're ducking in, we're ducking out. When the last guy sits down to eat, we're leaving.
Mm. And that was like widely known except for the new people that showed up, or?
Oh no! You're in basic. So the only time you'd ever pick up new people is when you ended a phase.
Mm.
So like say somebody else got hurt, went to medical rehabilitation platoon or PCP, physical conditioning platoon, uh, and they got bypassed and they wouldn't let them go. So there's 3 phases to Marine. Well, back when I was in, it's different now. But when I was in, there's 3 phases to basic, each a month long.
Mm.
So at the break of those phases, if somebody didn't make it, they were out. Somebody else who, didn't make it from another platoon would be picked up if they were ready to go back into training. And that's the only time you pick up new people. And it was
Okay.
only like onesie twosies.
So when you say duck, can you explain that further? You
Yeah,
said
we're ducking in, we're ducking out.
like what do you mean? Like I'm trying to. It's sorry, maybe my brain's mush, but like what? Like you'd grab your food and eat as quick as possible
Oh yeah,
because you knew.
because you had seconds to eat.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So like you're saying that like as soon as the last guy sat down, the drill sergeant was like, "Let's go."
Yep.
So you didn't want to be the last person. You want to be the first person at the front of the line.
Well, and you didn't have any choice in that either.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
No.
okay. So just did you?
Tallest to shortest.
Oh, okay. So you didn't want to be the shortest. You wanted to be
No.
the tallest. Oh man. So and it always stayed like that.
Always.
So everybody ate at the same time or in the same way, like the tallest all the way to the
No
last.
change.
So if you were the last person and the duck thing happened, then you knew that you were going to have like a chance.
You would get your food you weren't supposed to, but you'd be eating on your way to the seat.
That makes sense because I was going to ask, like, okay, like, because my brain envisions, of course, David Schwimmer having Winters make spaghetti. So whenever I'm envisioning them doing this to y'all, I'm thinking like you're eating spaghetti, trying to sit down, and then all of a sudden, all right, let's go, we're running curry, type deal. So, but I guess that makes sense.
But
But
see,
yeah,
I don't think they would let us eat enough to where I don't remember anybody throwing up food.
mm.
What they did for us, because I was at Paris Island, is they would make us drink till somebody threw up.
What? Like water
Yeah.
or oh, okay. And like you would run or you would just drink water
Oh
till you
no,
throw up?
we're drinking canteens, like starting with 2 canteens at a time, which is a half gallon of water, and you down both of those. And if nobody, threw up, then we refilled them both, went back to the line, and started drinking again.
Now, did the person that threw up get in trouble or were
No,
they just doing that
he
just
was the lifesaver. That
oh.
was Paul Lynn. What's up, Paul?
But like I guess the question that I would have is like if you could make yourself throw up when you drink like 2 canteens and just throw up just to get it over with, or was it like a masculine like thing where like I'm not going to throw up this time or whatever, or
I don't think we were thinking about that. We're just, trying to do what was being asked.
no, just drink until you threw up? Were you ever the guy
Or
that threw
just,
up?
no,
I could hold my water.
I could hold my water.
That's wild. I have never like that sensation when you're thinking about it. Like just whenever I'm thinking about it, like like I've drank water and back whenever I know it doesn't look like it, but I used to be in cross country back in high school. But like there were times where my body was so upset that like if I drank water, I threw up just because it was so tired. But like to just stand there and drink until your body's like, nope, no more. Blah. That's weird. That's a weird process to think about doing to, for one, doing to another human, but also doing to myself. So, yeah. How long did it, like, do you remember how many canteens it generally took for someone to throw
I
up?
think you'd usually give up on him about the middle of the 3rd canteen. So,
And was it generally the same guy?
mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you just knew were you, were you drinking and just kind of side looking, being like, all right, dude. all
anytime
right, dude."
now, anytime now.
And how many times did they do that to y'all? Like once a
Almost
week?
daily.
They really?
Yeah.
Did they just? Was it a torture thing, or was it like they wanted?
So it was twofold.
Okay.
One, they have a matter of fact, Paris Island back then had one of the best heat trauma care centers in the world because we're out there in 100 and some degree weather doing all kinds of crazy. And so big focus on, heat stress monster is what
Yeah.
they called it. Drinking water, pushing water, drinking water, always drinking water. So when we're training, we're supposed to drink, 2.5 gallons essentially of 12 canteens of water. I
A
believe is
day.
what, yeah.
Okay.
And so I remember one day I had to go and get refitted for a uniform. And we were doing schooling when somebody called me out to go do it. And I came back and everybody's face was just drawn. I'm like, okay, what I miss? And we had a guy in the platoon that was a real clown. And so the DI asked him and said, how many canteens do we drink? And he said 20.
What?
That's 5 gallons of water.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, get your canteens. And that ended up being a really bad day.
Yeah.
So when I got back, I think I drank 4 canteens online. They had already drank, a good couple before I got there. And, in our branch, we requested to make a head call when you had to go to the bathroom. Well, head calls were denied.
That was actually going to be my next question. So, like, when they make you drink all that, do they let you go? Because I would assume that if everybody drinks 2, the one guy that doesn't throw up, within about 15 or so minutes, the nature's starting to call because it's made its way through your body.
Yep, nobody could go. And I think we only were given like 2, two actual permitted head calls that day. So you can imagine.
Yeah. And then,
I could tell you some things, but I won't.
yeah,
on this
I mean,
show.
I think everybody can use their imagination on how that day turned out for you guys. But, like, golly, like, what is the purpose?
It wasn't funny anymore by the end of the day, I can tell you.
Yeah. Like, first guy, you're like, haha, then you're like, oh, I'm next. Oh, I'm next.
It was pretty miserable.
Yeah. And with the heat and that going on as far as inside of your uniform, that, like, for one, that's not fun for you, but then also whoever does the laundry that day.
No, there is no daily laundry either.
So what like the rest of the week y'all had to run around in
Yeah.
that uniform unwashed? Wow. What's the purpose of that?
I don't know. I guess making sure you give proper answers when you get asked the question.
I see what you're saying. So that was a punishment for Joker being funny, and then everybody got so.
Yeah. Good old private joker.
Yeah. So does that mean that y'all got the soaps and y'all gave him a beat down?
Actually, we never did.
Yeah.
Thought crossed my mind on a couple people, but
But I would assume that because, again, like you said, movies are Hollywooded up, that, like, there's not a guy that purposefully, I would assume, purposely goes out to get everybody in trouble, right? So Pyle he didn't purposefully do it, but it was drummed up in Hollywood because for the soap moment to drive him over the edge for the bathroom scene when it does
oh no,
happen.
don't get me wrong. We had a guy who didn't know his left from his right, and we did a lot of push-ups for him.
And did y'all assist? I mean, did you hear that somebody assisted him learning
Well, I would actually walk with him in count and cadence with him in the barracks, trying to help him understand how to march.
Yeah.
Because he was killing us.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. So he wasn't doing it on purpose. It's just maybe he had like
He just couldn't.
like
he-
dyslexia
White
that.
boy got no rhythm or something. I don't know.
So when you say are you saying that like when y'all would march like right, left, he was just out of sync and they're like, all right,
And you can't miss it. When you got 70 guys who are all
and they're all
doing
going,
the same thing, and then one guy in there is not, he stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Because like everybody's leg would lift up at the same time, so there'd just be this huge gap between each leg. But then you have one leg that's down when it shouldn't be.
Right.
Wow,
Yeah.
that would drive me crazy too. But then again, I know my brain, and I know how I read, and I would probably be that guy. And I would be apologizing I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on with my brain. I just have never been good at doing this stuff.
You have to learn how to apologize too, because you don't do it like that.
Sir. I mean, well, I guess in Marines there'd be an F word in between. I'm sorry. Is that how you
Oh no,
apologize?
you don't talk like that. They talk like that to you.
Well,
If you
no.
talk like that, you end up on the floor.
Yeah, well, no, I wasn't saying that you would apologize to the drill sergeants. You'd be apologizing to the people that you were making do
Oh
all those
no,
push-ups.
and because there's usually when the offense occurs, there's no time or place to do it, and then by the time there is a time and place, we're way beyond that anyway.
Yeah, everybody's already mad.
So, but you usually the only person you ever apologize to was a drill instructor for whatever infraction you may or may not have committed. And so there was a protocol for doing that too. You just played ignorant.
I say, yes, drill sergeant, Aaron is stupid.
No, sir, the private didn't know, sir.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay. I mean, that's in a way that's saying the same thing. So I'll be like, sir, Aaron.
But that was it. You just leave
Yeah.
it at that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Were there ever times where not during like PT or KP or whatever it's called, the workouts, but was there
Two
ever,
very different things,
huh?
bro.
Oh, is there?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, workouts, right? In between workouts and school and all that stuff, were there ever moments where the drill sergeants were actually human to you guys? Or could that not happen?
So the only time, so one of my favorite drill instructors was a staff sergeant, and he, at the end, towards the end, last 2 weeks of our third month, he would be treating us like he normally would, but you would see the smile on his face because we knew he was having fun.
Okay.
And so, but there were other ones that, one of them, I didn't, I wouldn't, it was, yeah, I didn't like him at
It was
all.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. So like you would think, and again, and maybe some of them do, like as soon as you graduate, you're not, as the guy from Full Metal Jacket said, you're not a worm anymore. You're a private, or whatever he said when they graduated. Like there was, like you would think that once you got past the boot camp, like they'd be like, but no, they were hard nosed even till the very end. Like get out of here.
Uh, but you knew the ones that were okay. And they were, like that staff sergeant, I would like to run into him again, just say hi. I don't know whatever. Never saw him again.
Yeah.
But you would think that too. But then when you go to when we went to our next school, we were right back to nothing again.
Oh really?
Like, wait a minute, I thought we graduated.
You graduated to nothing, to be nothing.
Again.
So when you graduated from boot camp and you went to that other place for your classes, right? Because that's what would happen is you go to boot camp, learn the basics, and then go to school to learn what you're going to do, right?
Well, so every Marine is essentially a rifleman. Every Marine everybody knows how to fight. Doesn't matter what you do.
Okay.
So our first school that we did out of boot camp was Marine combat training.
Now, were there drill sergeants there, or was it a different kind of
Different
teacher?
kind.
Okay. Were they still hard nosed, or were
Worse.
Oh, they were worse.
Yeah.
Probably because they're dealing with something that could kill people at that point, right?
When what we didn't know is that while we were in boot camp, Desert Storm and Desert Shield were actually Desert Shield spun up while we were in boot camp. And we didn't realize that people were getting mobilized and we were about to go to war.
Yeah.
We had
But
no
they
idea.
did. You didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they knew, but we didn't.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I guess I could understand how the teachers over the guns would be a lot more hard nosed because not everybody knows the basic rules of holding a gun
Oh
and
no, we
everything like
covered
that.
the basics of gun and basic combat maneuvering in boot camp.
Oh, so then everybody should
This
know.
was more advanced. This is getting into various heavy weapons and rockets and mortars
Denise, it is time for you to go to bed.
Alexa, stop. Sorry, that's part of every podcast. Got to do that. Sorry.
Every podcast I've
Yeah.
heard it, but I didn't know what it was saying.
Oh yeah, it tells Elise to go to bed and Dexter to go to his room. So sorry about that. I knew it was coming because I saw 8 over there, and I was like, okay, well then there we go. It's about to happen. So I was ready. But you were saying training and rockets and stuff like that.
Yeah, just getting more into the actual infantry portion of it, doing more marches, force marches, recons, patrols, firing machine guns.
Like machine guns. Like, have you ever seen the movie Rambo, the latest one? Like that kind of gun? No.
The latest one.
So there was I don't know what kind of gun it is. Forgive me, right? I know what a Sig 229 is. Okay, I know that. But he at the end of one of the Rambo movies, one of the later ones, I think it came out in 2016. He gets on the back of this Jeep and he kills a guy, and then he has this gun where I don't know what the caliber is, but people were like exploding like when he was shooting them with the gun. So I just didn't know if, like, when you say shooting like machine guns, did y'all get to shoot guns like the guns you see like on the helicopters, or was it just like
No, that would have
M16
been
style
really
gun?
cool though.
Yeah. What was the coolest gun you got to shoot in the military?
Coolest gun I think that I liked was the M60E3. And the easiest way to associate that, did you see the first Predator with Schwarzenegger?
Mm-hmm.
The black guy, Mac,
Yeah.
his machine gun.
Oh,
That was our standard machine gun.
really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
that was an M60E3.
Yeah. Of course, when you think of Predator, you think of Jesse Ventura's gun, right? Because he's the one that had like the
Yeah.
chain thing. But yeah. So the one that, would you call it an M60? So that was yours?
Well, I got to shoot it.
Oh,
Carried it a few times,
nice.
but
What kind of
heavy,
what kind of magazine load does it carry?
belt fed.
Oh, it's belt fed. Then I'm not thinking of the same gun then. I don't know. I'd have to see it. I was thinking of a totally different gun. So it's
Yeah,
a belt fed.
Yeah, you can see him where he's pulling towards the end after Jesse got shot, and he pulls the belt out of the little. That's a 50 round belt that he had attached on there.
Oh,
Pretty
and
well
then
useless.
yeah, maybe I'm getting guns mixed up. But yeah, that seems fun, right? To
Very
shoot.
accurate gun.
Is it?
Shot like a dream. I loved it. If I could ever get my hands on one, I'd buy one.
And you said it was accurate.
Yeah.
So like you're pointing down the range, and
Yeah,
it's
rounds on target, buddy.
really
Oh, yeah.
interesting. As long as you hold it still, of course, right? Because if you're just letting the gun shoot itself, then it's going to kind of go everywhere.
Well, I mean, we shot it in the prone position, so
Yeah, because whenever I say something about guns, it's my noviceness. So don't judge me too much, because the way I've learned with my Sig is like you can shoot the gun and it'll go where you point it, but you still have to control it.
right.
Right? Because when I first started shooting, I was just me and my brother. I had a Smith and Wesson, and I was just shooting to shoot, and I was like, why isn't it not going where I'm telling it to go, right? And then my co-host, yeah, you've met Fred. Yeah, you met Fred. He taught me how to shoot, and then once he taught me how to shoot, my groupings got smaller, and then he made a mistake of letting me shoot his Sig 229. And then my grouping, so like whenever I was aiming center mass with my Smith and Wesson, it was all my groupings were up here. Once he taught me how to shoot, but then once once he let me shoot the Sig, like all my groupings were here. Still not on target all the way, but at least close to center mass. And then he found me one at a gun shop, and I went over there and purchased it immediately once he found it. So
That's a trigger pull issue you got there.
it was. It was mainly because he watched me shoot, and like I was doing this, but the pad of my finger was, so like if this was a trigger, the pad was just over. So whenever I was pulling, the trigger was pulling the gun. So now when I shoot, I'm using the pad of my trigger finger, and it's much more proficient.
That's also a big difference between the double action and single action.
Yeah, yeah, you should have seen how giddy, because he loves guns, right? How giddy he was when he brought over the double action. So before, when I'd pull the trigger, it'd be like pow, or it'd be pow, and then it'd probably be here before it reset, and then I could pull it again. Now it's pow, click pow, And when he's like, I've got something for you. And he called me generally, of course, when he comes over, he'll give me the heads up. He was like 5 minutes away from my house. Like, I got something for you. I'm like, oh, okay, come on over. And he came in the door with his wife and he was like, I got this for you. And then he showed me what it was. And I was like, what is that? And he told me what it was, and he let me pull. I knew my trigger pull, and so like he's like, your trigger pull, right? He's like, watch this, and then he installed it, and it went click, pow, and I was like, well, not pow because it was in here, but I felt the click, and then
Hammer release.
it's wild the way it shoots now, but yeah, so he took that trigger pull away for the most part.
Nice.
So, but yeah. But I didn't mean to go off on the SIG 229. I don't have guns. Guns are scary, and I've lost all my
That
guns.
was actually my first pistol.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, because it used to be, wasn't it a military issued gun, or was that
No, that was before it was military issue.
Okay.
Back when I was in, it was the M9 still.
Okay. Because the whenever I purchased my gun before I lost it in a boating accident, just so if anybody wants to know, I lost it in a boating accident. I don't have guns. Guns are scary. But when I went to purchase it, the guy so Fred found it. He told me where it was. I went to go get it. It's actually over where you live. I went to the store, and the guy's like, "Yeah, your friend told me that you were coming." And he said he told the guy the same thing that he told me. He said, "You have 24 hours to buy that gun, or I will." So I hopped in the car and went over there and got it. But anyways, so he told me that a police officer. So that gun used to be owned by a police officer. So before I lost it in a boating accident, I really enjoyed that gun. And yeah.
I had a Hogue slip-on grip on mine.
A what?
Hogue slip-on grip.
What does that mean?
Basically, it's a rubberized grip
Oh, okay.
that you could slide onto it, and it had a nice little finger groove. Just, it was nice.
It's a super reliable. It was a super reliable gun when I had it. The only time that it misfired really was when I used because Fred reloads his own stuff, and there was a couple of bullets that like it hit the primer had.
It didn't fire.
Yeah, it just didn't fire. But other than that, I don't really remember it jamming.
I
jamming.
never had a jam in mine either.
Yeah.
I had to hawk mine a long time ago, though,
Uh,
unfortunately.
yeah. Christy's gun, before she lost it in a series of boating accidents too, she had a Ruger SR22, and that actually jams. Granted, like we shoot crap through it because we're learning it.
22 is a dirty round anyway.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it jams. It jams not a lot, but it does jam.
You got to clean the daylights out of that.
Oh, do you? Okay. Because I mean, we clean it, but we don't clean the outs. But we also haven't been shooting in a while. But that has jammed, not a lot, but more so than the 229. But now that you told me that it's a dirty round, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you need to clean. Just get in there and get it deep clean
Yeah.
under the water when you find it.
It's somewhere. It's in some lake somewhere.
Underwater metal detector.
I bet you that there's probably an alligator that's probably eating it because there's alligators everywhere in Texas. So, if
That's all right. The G-Shock I went through boot camp and all my other training with is down at the bottom of a lake too.
So you go to school, right? And you go through the shooting thing, and so you go through boot camp, and then you go through the learning how to fight, right? And then after that, that's when you go to school for the job.
Right.
So how long are you at fighting school for?
That's a month long. And
So-
you're in the field and nothing. I think you're in the barracks for the first couple of days, and then you go out to Tent City, and then from Tent City you're out like in the woods
What's the definition of tent city?
where you're living in tents.
Oh, okay. just as apparent as what it sounds. So like when you're going through the fighting school, you're living in a tent.
Yeah.
Nice. Is
And
that
that's if when you're back at base camp. Other than that, you're under the stars.
so? When you're living in a tent, you're like, this is luxury compared
Yeah,
to
it
just
was
sleeping
like
on the ground.
36 degrees.
Oh, well, maybe not. Maybe not luxury either way. Because if you're in a tent, you're cold either way, right?
No
Yeah.
heaters.
No heaters except for your manly man because you're Marines.
Yeah, huddled together, except you sleep on a cot.
Yeah. Wow. And then so the time. So how long? So you're in boot camp for you said 3 months,
Yep.
and then 30 days of learning how to fight
That,
or
that was
continue.
back in my day. I'm not really sure what they do now.
Well, yeah, but I was just following the timeline as far as like, so you're here and then you go to school for how long?
So it depends on what you do.
Okay.
So my MOS, that school was like 6, 7 months long.
Oh, okay. So you were basically in training from boot camp to school for a year.
Yeah,
Wow.
every bit
Okay.
of it.
I didn't know that it lasted that long.
Neither did I.
Okay.
I didn't want to go to school either,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Wow.
ended up going to school forever.
But I mean, I guess if you're learning the ins and outs of engines for planes, you want the time to learn that because those
So no, I wasn't
engine.
an engine guy. I was an electrician.
Oh, electrician. Okay.
Yeah, so I was a what they called a wire tracer. But
But
yeah,
still, electricity keeping the planes in the air, right? So
so
you.
flight control systems were ours. Navigation, system was ours. A few other things. All of the backup was ours.
And did you stay here in the mainland, or did you deploy out anywhere, or can you even talk about
Man,
that?
I can talk about it
Okay.
because I had a list a mile long of places we were supposed to deploy to, but because of Desert Storm, we didn't have any money.
Mm.
So I was supposed to go to Alaska, Australia, Hawaii, all kinds of really cool places, and we never went anywhere because we had no money.
Because it was all in the war.
Well, in Marines, we pride ourselves on keeping a low budget, or at least
No.
we did.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just deployed mainly stateside until right before I got out, and I went out on the Constellation for a bit.
Mm. And where in that time frame did you meet your wife?
So I met her in May of '93.
Is that in the middle of your being a Marine, or was it after you were out?
No, I was still active duty.
Okay.
Met her at a squadron party.
So that means that, praise God, that you didn't get deployed anywhere.
Well, I mean, a lot of really weird things could have happened because she wanted to be in the Peace Corps,
Mm.
but she ended up not doing that. And it's just weird how God puts things together.
Yeah.
You don't always realize it, but time and place for everything, and we ended up being at the same time and place. So don't know if I ever shared that story with you
No.
about
That's
so the
why. That's what I was asking. Like.
precursor to it. Yeah, never had any luck really dating. I'd fallen in love with a Navy girl in training. She was in my classmate, and she had warned me in the beginning that she was attached. And I'm like, I could win her over, and she ended up staying with her attached instead of me. Uh, and that absolutely crushed me. It really did. That was one of the lowest points of my life, and somehow made it through that. That was towards the end of our training. We're about to go to our next schooling, which basically our finishing school. And she went to Norfolk, and I went to Cecil Field, Florida. She was Navy, and I was Marines.
Yeah.
There was a chance we could have gone to the same place, but she got a totally different airplane than I did, and me and some people were even getting helicopters. So uh, I was just lucky to get, I guess, what I got.
Yeah.
And I worked on F-18s, but so long story, hopefully made shorter. I reached a point where I was just tired, frustrated, can't find a girl, nobody's interested, and the girls that are there are just not worth having anyway.
Right.
And basically went to God and just said, I literally gave it to God. Said, I'm tired of looking. I'm tired of, being worried about it. With everything I got going on, I don't need that too. Said, I'm so not doing it. You're going to have to throw her in my lap because I'm not looking. And I had a peace come over me that I hadn't had in years. And a couple of days later, literally 3 days later after that, I go to squadron party. I'm out there surfing, and I had a wetsuit on, but I didn't have any gloves or booties. My hands or feet were so cold I couldn't feel them anymore, and so I could barely stand, and I couldn't really paddle because I couldn't feel anything. I'm like, I got to get out of here. Plus the surf was dying, so I go out and there's a pavilion. There's this blonde girl in a bikini, and she's there. I'm like, and just move on. And I stumble my way up to the pavilion because I can't feel my feet. And she asked me, why are you getting out of the water? I said, because the water's cold. The water's not cold. I said, the water's cold. The water's not cold. She's arguing with me about how cold the water is.
You're like, lady, I don't even know who
I don't
you are.
even know who you are. I'm like, this chick is nuts. So she ends up running into the water about knee deep, splashing around. See, the water's not cold. And I said, this chick is definitely nuts. I don't even know where she came from. And we ended up spending several hours together just in and out of the water playing volleyball. And one of the highlights of the day was to play softball against the ground pounders, the grunts down there, because this was down at Camp Pendleton,
Which is in what state?
California.
Okay.
I was stationed in California.
So you got yourself, I didn't know this, you got yourself a California girl. Okay.
Yep, she was born and raised.
Okay.
As I was driving away, my mom said, "Don't you bring back one of them California girls."
And you're like, yes, ma'am. I ain't listening to you.
I'm like, "Yep, whatever, bye." I was pretty kind of rebellious,
Yeah.
but
So does that mean, to not be cliche, does that mean that one of your favorite songs is California Girls by the Beach Boys?
I love the Beach Boys.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It's your
I
origin
was thinking
story.
that years before
Yeah.
I even knew what it meant.
Yeah.
But matter of fact, I had the album, the real one. But no, so I'm looking all over for her. I have no idea where she went. Like, oh, well, they're like, if you're going to play, let's go. I mean, we all jumped into this little Toyota truck.
Yeah.
It looked like something you would see in Africa or something. Just all these guys standing up and piled up in the back of this truck, and we're all over to the softball game. We go over there, and we absolutely crushed these guys. I hit a softball so far. I don't think I've ever hit one that far again. Absolutely smashed
Because they deserved it.
it. And it was one of the best balls I ever hit. And yeah, we ended up hammering those guys. And when they finally took enough of the beating and we called it, game over, we went back. And then she's over there standing next to a pavilion, and she starts giving me the what for. Where have you been? You left. You didn't say anything to me. I'm like, lady, we just met today.
Yeah.
I don't know you anything. But I did try to find you, but I couldn't find you, and I had to go.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So let me take the time. Give me the camera here. So kids, this is before cell phones or anything like that. He couldn't Snapchat. He couldn't Instagram her. So like when he lost her. He had to find her physically.
Yep.
So I just had to take the camera over just to let the kids know that like back in the day, it's not like you could just touch phones and get each other's number or anything like that. So like if you found a girl, especially in the situation that you did, you had to actually like get the digits or
Yes.
actually like not lose her, because like you hopping in the car and going to play some game for a couple hours, she could have went home and you would have
I've never, ever seen her again.
never seen her again.
Yep.
It's wild story.
Yep.
But she mean mugged you. She's like, "Where you been?"
Right.
And then you were like,
Well, and
Marry
so,
me.
No, not yet. That was 3 months later.
"Oh wow, okay. See, I'm learning stuff about you. I didn't know that." Like, anyways, continue, sir.
So we ended up staying, hanging out together. We went out to find some driftwood, because it was getting cold, and try to throw some on the fire. And the beach gets cold at night. But
So can I stop you right there? So every single time, and this is just me learning because I'm a Texas boy. So every single time that I've seen a movie where people have started a fire on the beach, they've gotten wood like out of the water
no,
to do that, or is that was just what y'all were doing?
we were trying to get it higher up on the beach where it's actually dry and will burn.
Okay, because you said driftwood, so I was thinking
Yeah,
drift.
driftwood doesn't mean it's right there in the water. It
I'm
means
sorry,
it
I'm a
maybe
Texas
came
boy.
from water.
Okay.
And it's been on the beach long enough to dry out, so you can
Okay.
actually burn it. Because
Okay.
wet wood doesn't burn.
I know, but I was just wondering. It is called driftwood. You can see where I would get things mixed up. Okay,
Yeah.
I've been on a beach like 10 times my entire life.
Yeah, if you pull a log out of the water, good luck ever getting it to
Yeah,
catch.
unless you already have a massive fire going, right?
It'll still, it'd have to burn all the water out.
All right, so I interrupted your story. Y'all found driftwood,
Well,
starting
we
a
were
fire.
looking. We didn't
Oh,
really find any. And right as one thing led to another, we were about to kiss. I'm like, "There's lights coming," and she goes, "Wait a minute, I think that's my boyfriend."
what?
So,
What?
right? I'm
What?
like, "Oh, what?
Maybe we should stop this story.
Yeah, what's the point here?" So, come to find out, she was dating a guy who was about to be 4 ranks higher than me.
Oh, so he was a military guy too.
Yeah, he was in my unit. He was right next door.
What?
Yeah, he was in the next shop over.
Awkward.
Same building.
Awkward going forward, right? Yes.
So yeah, not as awkward as about to be. So ended up getting KP, mess duty, and when you're doing that, you're working 16, 18 hours a day, and it's just brutal. I mean, you're up early, you're out late, and you're just spent. And finally, it was getting to the end of that, and I called her, like, "Hey, we're about to go on deployment. Can I, come by, and I just wanted to call you and say hi." And she's like, "Well, you want to come over?" I'm like, "I guess. Where's over?" I actually had to find her number. I had it somewhere, and like you said, without
No
the digit,
phones, right?
And the only way to call kids it was with the payphone.
With the payphone.
Yeah, no, there wasn't
There's
any
no
other.
phone in the barracks at all? None?
And just in the duty office, and that's it, whether or not the duty officer would let you make a call.
Yeah, you don't want to make that kind of call in front of an officer either.
Exactly. So, and plus I wasn't at the barracks, I was at the mess hall, so I just called on the payphone. And called her, and she's like, "Yeah, if you want to come over, come over." And so I'm like, "Okay, great." So went and changed and put on my Z Cavaricis and my white shirt, and went over there.
And this is after she has a boyfriend. You're like, hey, I still want to come over and
But
see
you
you.
don't understand. I'm going to win her over,
Yeah,
right?
no, I get this. I know the end of the story.
Oh no,
I know the
I'm
end of the
talking
story.
about my mentality at the time. I
know-
don't care who she's dating. She's going to date me.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I was trying to set the scene. Like, okay, but anyways, so you go over there.
Went over there, and we what's the word? Flirted for a bit. She actually ended up kneeing me and a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I go to give her a kiss, and dang, I'm like, "What is it with you, lady? You're killing me. I really don't understand you." And ended up leaving. We ended up deploying out to Nevada for a couple weeks on the next 2 days later on Sunday. And I called her every day. My little calling card was getting burnt smooth to smithereens because, who carries around that kind of pocket change once
Yeah.
it's long distance?
Right.
And the rates were absolutely obscene.
Should we tell the people what long distance means? Back in the day, if you want to give me the camera again, see, kids, back in the day, phones were connected to the wall. And then if you had to make a call, was it like outside of like an area code or a specific city, they called it long distance. And they would charge you like 10 cents per second. And then it would go from like 10 cents to like a quarter. And so like phone calls that were like an hour would burn through like your entire paycheck. It's nothing like texting or calling today.
No.
That's one of the things that's really good about the way phones are now is long distance because, and then we'll get back. I'll tell this quick story. Like my mom, when we were in East Texas, my mom was allowed to call her mom once a week, and it was only for like 10 minutes or so because we couldn't afford the long distance phone calls. So my mom would call talk to her mom, and then all right, 10 minutes is up, boom, or however long it was. But she can only talk to her mom like once a month or once a week because of.
It was like 25, 35 cents a minute.
Anyways, so you were calling her, burning through all your minutes.
Yeah, called her, just talk on the phone, just being, may as well have been a high school kid talking on the phone. And we came back, and she actually met me at the base when we got back, and we took off and went to the beach and hung out at the beach. It was really neat. And we when we got back, we went back to her place, and her boyfriend was inside the house.
I was just about to ask
with
the
her.
question.
Hey, where have you been?
I was just about to ask I was just about to ask the question. You go back into town, and you're like, okay, has she broken up with the guy yet? Then you answered the question before I got there. So
She was going to get around to it, but she had to be sure, I guess.
yeah,
So that I was asked to leave, so I left. Wasn't very happy about that, but I went back. So the next day, every morning, we did what's called a FOD walk. FOD is FOD, foreign object damage. It's little debris, bits, pieces, rocks, whatever, that can get sucked up by the jet engines and damage them. So we do a walk down the flight line and pick everything up every morning, just to make sure before we do any flight ops, so to avoid that. And a FOD walk, he comes over to me and says, "I want you to stop seeing her."
ooh,
I said, "Nope."
and he was higher ranked than you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is a civil matter. It's got nothing to do. And I didn't work for him,
Okay.
but still, he was a higher rank than
Yeah.
me.
So
Yeah.
when he says that to you, do you have to go, sir, no, sir, or
Nope.
oh, it's just a simple no?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know how it worked even. in-
Because he wasn't an officer. You only have to tell officer. Once you get to that place where you're in the fleet, it's just officers or sirs, and
Okay. Okay.
NCOs or sergeant, staff sergeant, whatever sergeant that they are, or, you know,
So he comes up to you and says, "I need you to stop seeing this lady, or stop coming over," and you just are like, "No."
yep.
And then he's like, "Okay." Or what is like? How does
And
how
he
does?
says basically something like, "We'll see," or we'll see about that, kind of like that. Like, at this time, I maybe had my 229, but I mean, I wasn't really worried about him. I'm like, it's up to her, dude.
Yeah.
If she doesn't want you, she doesn't want you. Get over it and move on. And something told me, just being with her, that she was the one. And then I find out she has a boyfriend. I'm like, God, what are you doing? I'm confused right now.
How long before did she kick him to the curb?
Essentially, right then.
Okay.
That night,
Yeah.
and decided that she was going to be with me, and began our long storied past there. So we met on May 3rd, and and that's in '93. We got officially engaged in December of that year. I asked her to marry me in September, and there's a method to my madness.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect her to say yes. I would have been shocked if she did, actually. And then I would have been kind of in a corner because she would have called my bluff. But what I wanted to do is see, is she in it for the long haul, or is this just another boyfriend pastime thing?
Yeah.
I wanted, is she serious or not? Because I'm not playing at this point. And she said maybe. I'm like, okay, that's an answer I can live with.
Yeah.
Because it's not no. And so I was going to what was it? It wasn't a Christian church. It was I forget. It wasn't a denomination that was common to me. Forgive me, because I think starts with an N.
I don't know.
Anyway,
New Apostolic Reformation.
no. It's I don't remember. And but it was in Westminster, California,
Yeah.
and I was going there. I was like, "Hey, you want to go to church with me?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'll go to church with you." I'm like, awesome, because that was one of my things is, do you know the Lord? She's like, yeah, I got saved when I was a kid. I haven't really been in church, but yeah, I'll go to church with you. I'm like, okay, I can work with that. And so she would go to church with me when she could, or when I was able to take her, because my schedule's
Yeah.
all over the place. Um, and we had a good time. We hung out with an older couple that kind of took us under wing, Dave and Maxine, and good, just nice people in the church. We'd get together, play card games with them, and just had a really good time with them. Kept us from being in trouble or doing anything we shouldn't. And
It's always important, right?
not that we weren't doing things that we shouldn't.
Yeah. Well,
That means full disclosure there, but
shame the devil, tell the truth, right?
Uh, but we ended up getting married. We eloped in February 28th, so 2 months later. And
So September, and then that February you were married.
mhm.
Nice.
So essentially from May to February, which is whatever,
Yeah.
9 months, whatever. And so we've been married for, well, since 93, so 32 years.
Wow. Congratulations. She's put up with you for that long. Oh.
We've been together since that we got married 90. Yeah, we got married in 93. We met in 92. Wow.
Do you want me to have him cut this part out? So,
Sorry. My numbers are skewed. I'm like, wait a minute. The
I
math
think
doesn't
she'll
work.
forgive you. I think she'll forgive you. But so you brought up church. So I definitely want to hit on that because I know it's an important part of who you are and part of our friendship. So you had mentioned church before, but like when did what age did you get saved?
So I, except my grandfather took me out in the front yard. We were sitting in a boat. I was hoping we were going to go fishing, but we just sat there.
Mm.
And he basically ran through the plan of salvation with me and asked me if I realized I was a sinner and explain what sin is and that I needed a savior and what I like to ask Jesus to be my savior, and I did. And I was 7. I was in second grade. So at the time, I think we were going to a Southern Baptist church.
You mean the church that Jesus? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Hey, Southern Baptists, there's
Yeah.
so many. But we were going to Southern Baptist church. I got baptized. I remember I was getting upset with the pastor because he came over and seemed like he was grilling me about being saved. And I remember even at 7, I was like, it's almost like he doesn't want me to get baptized.
Mm.
And I thought that was pretty strange, but I understand why they did it.
Right, 100%.
But I think they went. I guess they were just making sure. But got baptized. We went to a big kind of early on, or what would be considered mega church. There it was like the second biggest one in the city. We went there, and I remember growing a lot there, but still having struggles. And one of the things that I would struggle with is the hypocrisy I would see in people, because to me, if God says that we need to do it, we should do it.
Right.
And I don't understand why we do it on Sunday, but then everybody seems to stop doing it everywhere else. So it didn't make any sense to me. And so as a young kid and young believer, that was pretty difficult to overcome. So I struggled, keep that struggle fast forward through my life, and kept seeing the same thing, not really realizing that people are sinners. You're going to sin even though you're saved. But I guess the point that was difficult for me was the continuance or the lack of anything other, like no change in lifestyle.
Yeah, no repentance, no turning from sin, but embracing it. Yeah.
Right. So really began to struggle with that once I went, kind of hit real rebellious spot. I was in boot camp 2 weeks after high school graduation. I mean, it's just do not
Wow.
pass go, do not collect $200, and I'm out. Deuces. With no plans on ever coming back, and then reality of life. I got nowhere else to go. I definitely don't want to stay in California.
Yeah.
I guess may as well come back. So I left New York, joined the Marines from New York. That's how I went to Paris Island, and I have not been back since I left. I graduated high school in 2 weeks, and that's it. I haven't been back.
Never going back. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that Pastor and I talked about in the previous one is, I mentioned that there is a portion of every single church, no matter where it's at, that fits into the Matthew 7:21 through 23, where they think that they're saved, they're not. And then you have this you have these people that mess up. We're going to mess up regardless, right? Because humanity sucks. That's why we need a savior, right? So the way that I've tried to raise my kids, right, is I'll try to let them know whenever I mess up, right? Let them mess up. Your faith should never rely on me.
Right.
Because if that happens, Dad's going to mess up. They've seen it in the previous church. Now, granted, Elise doesn't have any memories of that much of the previous church, but maybe Dexter has a little bit. But like if their faith was based on a pastor, right, or a man, then any sort of experience that would have happened at the previous church, you have a kid that hates church growing up watching what happened between us and the previous pastor at the other church, right? So as long as like that pastor imploded one Sunday, I think it was Tuesday night. We didn't go to church at all that first Sunday after it happened, but we were back to church at a different place. It was actually Second Mile after a week after all of it imploded, because we understood that yes, this bad thing happened, but like his implosion has nothing to do with what Jesus did on the cross.
Right.
So all that to say is when you have that mindset, right? I don't think anybody's sin inside the church shouldn't affect your relationship with God, unless it's directly happening to you. So like if a pastor comes there and punches you in the face, you may need to take a couple weeks off or something like that. But at the end of the day, no matter what happens, Jesus still died on the cross. He's still God, and he's still raised from the dead. So I've been trying to instill that because I'm a hypocrite. They see it whenever I do mess up. So I don't.
I think the difference between a lot of people say whenever you sin, you're a hypocrite, but you're not. Hypocrisy is when you continue in that sin without ever getting right or having that David moment where you repent and turn back. That's the difference.
I fit underneath the dog that keeps eating his own vomit. There's some things that I keep messing up,
Well, we do have our sin, which does so easily beset us.
It's my mouth, right? For the very first time, and we shame the devil and tell the truth, whether it's here or on Fire Resistant. Like, what was it, like a month ago? Some guy pulled out in front of me or did something, and then like my mind didn't remind me that Dexter was in the car with me. And I said some of the worst stuff you could say, and then like as soon as I said it, my brain was like, Dexter's in the car. And then there was like this awkwardness in the car, and I was like, sorry, son. I shouldn't have said that. Generally I keep that to myself, but for some reason it just and right, it's just one of those things where like if God could remove cars from this world, there would be no.
You'd find something else.
Well, I don't know what it is about driving in a car that makes me mad. That's generally about the only time that I get mad, just super, super mad like that.
You haven't found that grace spot yet.
What do you mean?
So I used to be the same way.
Help me. Teach me.
Well, I don't know if I can because, we're all different, right?
Yeah.
So what worked for me may not work for you. But one of the things that I do is just remember that, how they act and what they do, I can either let it affect me and how I react to it,
Hmm.
and I can either follow suit and be right there with them, or I can take a higher road and just be gracious, because I can remember times in my life like getting a phone call, hey, your wife is in and out, she's in the parking lot, getting Becky's crying and somebody else is calling on her phone. I'm doing 110 miles an hour on 59 down
Yeah.
in Houston, and I beat the ambulance there, and I was coming from downtown in the Galleria. So I mean, I had the hammer down. Could be a situation like that. We don't know what's going on in their life.
Yeah. So it's not so much like I can understand that. Generally, if I see a car speeding, let's say a user scenario, I just get out of the way. I move out of the way. But it's like the the moves that they
So
do,
I just call it. He just had to get over right there, and usually you can see it.
or if
Just
they're
just I see it happening before it does,
yeah,
and I'll actually start slowing down, knowing that this
right.
person is going to come over.
It's for me. It's more like if it's like let's say it's 40 miles an hour, everybody's driving 40, and then some guy just decides that they're going to drive 20. Like, why are you driving 20 miles an hour? Why? I mean, if you went 35 or even 30, but like, why are you going 20?
And so this guy can't do the speed limit.
It enrages me, and I don't know why. It does,
So
but
so, and again, I've learned leave early.
mm,
Don't be concerned, because whether or not this guy does the speed limit or not, as long as I get there safely, I'm
yeah,
gonna get there.
mm,
And odds are I'll probably get there still on time or early.
yeah. One of the things that Christy and we both agree on is we both hate being late. So it's not about me being late somewhere. It's about like I'm just driving and you're in my way. That's ultimately what it boils down to. Like I understand the ego and all that pride that goes along with just get out of my way. I'm just trying to get from point A to point B. You don't want to drive the same speed limit. Now I'm mad. And I know it revolves around me, but like
I guess that's the difference, is just having the grace to, okay, I'm not first.
what is it, James? The unbridled tongue?
Oh, that's when
No.
you start, going right to the heart of our sin. But that's
All right, fine. God says if your eyes offend you, pluck them out. I'm just going to pluck out my tongue.
that was
The
an
problem is
interesting
I'll
verse
just
as a
start
kid, by
signing
the
you.
way.
What?
That was an interesting verse as a kid.
I know, right? But as far as you said that it was 7 years old, and was it so? Like I walked the aisle for the first time whenever I was like 6, but it wasn't a knowledge of like good and evil. It was like, hey, my brother walked down the aisle and I walked with him. Like I didn't understand what I was doing or anything like that. So was it a conversion that was real at 7, or did you realize like me whenever I was a teenager that I wasn't really saved and that I didn't have a full understanding of what I was saying back when I was 6?
So for me, it's real,
Okay.
because I can take you to the exact spot. Tell you
Yeah.
everything that happened. And the difference for me being that, hey, how come it's real for me and doesn't seem to be real for any of you?
Yeah.
And that's in elementary school. And so I believe that was indeed genuine. Doesn't mean that I, you know, because went through rebellion and just seeing everything that I saw and hearing everything I heard, and experiences, and then going into the Marines, and that didn't help.
Yeah.
But I did. God still was good. Uh, had a very godly roommate for a time, and he, in spite of what I did, was always gracious to me.
Mm.
And this guy would take a beating, but he took a hard stance for Christ and would not bend. He was a little guy, 5'3",
Wow.
would not bend. I'm a Christian. You can say what you want about it. He'd always have a smile about it. I'm like, deep in my heart, convicted.
Yeah.
absolutely convicted. And it's not an easy thing to do to be a Christian in the military. It's not. Uh, it's not bred. It's not pushed. It's not desired, and everybody else seems to be running, if
Doing everything,
anything,
yeah.
from it.
Yeah.
So, hats off to him. He's still a dear friend. Visited him when we went on our honeymoon a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how poor we were. It took me 30 years to take a honeymoon, but just a wonderful couple.
Yeah.
They actually got married 1 week before us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the only reason why I ask is because, like, for me, like, my brother walked the aisle before me. He's 3 years older than me, and I followed him. And then when he was a teenager, he went to camp, and God convicted him and showed him that he wasn't really saved. So he had a genuine salvation experience when he was a teenager. And then same thing with me. I went to a play called Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I know, but we used to, at one church that we were really active in, we did something called the Burning Hell. And I did that for a few years.
Yeah, so was the Burning Hell like short stories of people dying and
It was
going?
rooms, essentially, people who had died. And it was different rooms of people who were in hell for different reasons, who
Oh.
didn't think that they should be in hell.
Okay.
People, I lived a good life, or,
Yeah.
where's my daughter? Where's my family? Why am I here? I'm a preacher, whatever. And my particular room, I played a demon, which was
Makes
on the
sense.
outside.
Makes sense.
And I got to cast the lady's girl into the fire when she looking. You want your daughter? Well, here she is. I threw her into hell. And they would use the black lights and peanuts with the fluorescent paint. It really looked like coals. It was really cool. Had no idea that you would do that, but it was. I would wear a black cloak, had it pulled over my face so they couldn't see my face.
Wow. Okay. So you were like, so Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames was not like that. What it was is it was a series of short plays that played out on a stage in church, and it was different scenarios of like different people living their lives and then dying and them going to a judgment, right? So like one door, like the light would come on and Jesus would come out and hug them and then take them to the left, and then the other door, like the demons and the devil would come out and drag the person to hell. And it was very, like, God used that and was like, there's this one where his family was in, I was a teenager, I didn't have a family, but like, it was a car wreck sequence where, Jesus came out and took all the family except for the dad. And he took all of them except for the dad, and dad was just standing there. It's like, why didn't you take me? And then the devil came out and took him to hell, and God was like, that's you. And yeah, that was it. That was the moment where I know that I was saved. And because I just lost it and just repented. And it wasn't so much walking down the aisle as it was God just letting me know that what you did when you were 6 wasn't it. Like this is reality for you if you were to die right now. So yeah. So do you know where Todd White used to preach from?
Todd White.
The heretical teacher. So you know that. So if you keep going past our church up the hill to the railroad tracks, there's that big church on the corner.
The one on the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Todd White used to preach there.
I'm not really sure who that is.
Okay, he's a heretical teacher.
But,
But anyways,
it could be why I don't know.
yeah. So before he took over that building, that church used to be called Harvest, and that's the building. I didn't go to that church. I actually went to that church just to go see the play because I thought I was saved, so I wasn't going there for anything other than it was just a church function. So I went there, and that's the building I got saved in, and then I went to where Second Mile's at, which was called Park Glen at the time, and I was like, "Hey, Pastor, this is what happened." And then I got baptized, but yeah, that was it was interesting to see the building I got turned in that I got saved and got turned into like this big, huge heretical nonsense.
Just a building.
Yes, yeah, no, I get it, but come on, but yeah, no, if I wouldn't look into them, but there's a phenomenal documentary called American Gospel. There's three of them, I believe, and one of them's called I think it's called Christ Alone, and it is straight the gospel, but they highlight some teachers that are heretical, like Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen, and this guy Todd White. And what Todd White would do is he would go to like the mall, and he would find somebody that had like a leg that was shorter than the other, and he would do like they would show it in slow motion how he would basically just turn the ankle rather than it actually grows. So it made the guy think that Todd made his leg grow. It just stuff like that, just snake oil salesman stuff. But ultimately, I was very angry when I found out that that guy was in the building. I was in the building I got saved in. But ultimately, back to the reason why I even talked about that was like, so when people say that they have like get saved when they're a kid, I totally believe that that happens. So I just didn't know if you had like a secondary like, hey,
I did.
oh,
So
you did,
let me first precursor. So my wife might be a good candidate for your show,
yeah,
but again, when we met, she told me she had been saved, and so we get married, move to Arkansas, have kids, and life was tough. Life was difficult. She was unhappy. I was unhappy. Um, she did a lot of things that really made me start to wonder. I'm not really sure, but she said she's saved. And I remember, so it kind of goes, part and part, right? Hand in hand. God will call out to you if you're one of his children.
yeah,
He'll, so I'd been out of the Marines. I was a couple years now, drinking really heavily. Didn't like my life. Hated the situation I was in. Hated almost everything. I just really no happiness or joy. Not going to church. Uh, church we were going to, the lead pastor that I liked, he ended up stepping down. The guy who stepped up in his place, to his face, I called him and said, "You're like a game show host."
oh wow, all right,
So, well, I mean, back
yeah,
then, I wasn't exactly the nicest person. Um, and we ended up leaving there and just being disappointed. Couldn't find anywhere, you know. And I remember it was a Saturday night. My kid was going to a school just a block away, and they had a gun scare. So he was in the K4 program, and in the opposite end of the same trailer that their classroom was in, they had the troubled kids. And one of them wigged out, I'm gonna bring a gun, I'm gonna kill everybody here, kind of thing. And back in that day, you know, I'm like, I will kill everybody in the way.
yeah,
You don't understand, and I won't even think twice about it. And my wife was like, we need to. I want to put him in a private school. I want to get him out of that. I'm like, okay, and then and just like, and I would drive by this church. There's about a mile down the road, maybe. And every time I drove by it, I got this weird feeling, like something wrong with that church. And I remember when Saturday night, just months down, we were together but alone. And I remember I was by myself. I was in the living room. I was drinking, and I got up. I went back to the restroom, and God called me out. He said, "Your parents had the decency to take you to church for you to hear about me, for you to learn about me. You're not giving your own kids that same option. If you don't want anything to do with me, fine. I'm done with you."
mm,
Sobered me straight, scared me. That was the scariest thing, and I guess it was what I needed.
yeah,
And I don't think that God would have said that to somebody who wasn't one of his children.
yeah,
And I said, okay, God, you know, I'll take the family to church. And I went right back to bed and laid down, and she kind of shuffled or moved and said, hey, I want to go to church tomorrow. She goes, okay. Where? I said, we'll go to that, you know, church place you've been talking about. And so we got up, got the kids ready, went to the church, and I'd read the Left Behind series. I read Revelation when I was like somewhere between 10 and 12.
And you
And
fully understood it, right?
right. And read Left Behind, so it put all the pieces together for me. And went to the Sunday school, adult Sunday school that they put us in, and he was teaching on Revelation. So me, yeah, I know the answer to that. They're like, well, you know, no, it's not exactly right. So here's what the Bible says. Well, that's not exact. Every question I got it wrong, and that made me mad. So I don't like being wrong,
Yeah.
or at least you know back then that was part of my ego, and even in high school. But I'm like, okay, well now I want to learn. You know, well, what is the truth? And you know, went to the service, and I just kind of felt drawn to it. We ended up going back Sunday night, and we ended up joining a church that Sunday night, and come to find out, so we eloped, but I was too chicken to tell my parents, so we had a second wedding in July. So July 16th is our big wedding, we call it, and not the real one, but the big one, and. Matter of fact, I was so chicken, I think I was 40 before I told them, but they still refused to acknowledge it.
What? Really?
Yeah.
That's
So,
wild.
so it's still July for them. But, and it was July 16th, that the day that we went to church. And I was filling out the membership card. I did it faster than her and got down to the anniversary. I'm like, happy anniversary.
Thanks, church, for reminding me.
Right. She's like, oh, but it was that night before it even came up, didn't even register. That's kind of the state we're in. So God began to just do a great work in me in restoration. And years later, we were preparing for the Lord's Supper, and Pastor had been preaching on searching your heart. Search your heart. Make sure you're not taking the Lord's Supper, you know, improperly. And she woke up one morning, she's like, I'm not saved. And I had already I was going out the door.
Yeah.
And so she went and talked to Pastor. He's like, well, you know what to do? She goes, yeah. And so she got that settled. And from that point on, our marriage has been a totally different thing.
Praise God.
I mean, night and day.
Yeah.
And now I know why it was so difficult, part of it, before, because we were definitely not pulling equally.
Yeah, two different directions. Yeah.
And when she got saved, it made a huge difference in her life. Our family changed. I wish I don't. A lot of things yet to happen. A lot of hurts that would come. A lot of things that would cause my kids harm. And we don't have time to go through tonight.
Yeah.
And all of that, but just. God, the one thing I can say is through it all, God's been with us. And we've gone through some incredibly rough and low spots. Matter of fact, what I didn't realize, I knew things were bad. I didn't know that she was looking for an out when I went to church.
Wow.
And she said, I knew things were different so I tried to do it without anybody knowing, but I went, I don't remember if it was a week or two later, but I went back to the closet and poured all my alcohol down the drain. And she caught me. I was trying to do it, kind of in secret, just be done with it, and not trying to do it for show.
Yeah.
And she said she was watching me like a hawk, just waiting for me to trip up. And she said, when it didn't revert back, she said, I knew
Things were different.
Were different, yeah.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'm sure we're probably at your words of wisdom time.
Yeah, we're right there. Plus, our the lights have flickered a little bit. We've heard a little bit of thunder here,
So
but
that was that.
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't want the look because over here for whatever reason sometimes when it gets going the lights just go out. So I
Oh,
was thinking,
I have to worry when the sun's out.
oh, well, yeah. So at this point in the show, we do definitely do the words of wisdom. So when you talk, if you want to look at me, if you want to look at the camera, you've been however you want to do it. But like, words of wisdom, like because you already said you're going to come back. I just heard you say it, so you're going to come back.
There's a lot. There's a lot to my story.
Yeah, we only got up to the point where you
I'm still in
and
my 20s.
oh, that was like 5 years ago, right?
You're right.
But as far as where you're at right now, like the people that are watching, whether it be 5 years down the road or right now, because we're planning on doing this forever until Jesus comes back, so people could stumble upon this 10 years from now, the words of wisdom that you'll throw out there as echoes through the ages. So what do you got?
So I've got two things I would like to say. Number one, nothing can separate you from the love of Christ. No height, no man, nothing can separate you. You can't, wherever you are in your life, God is there with you, whether you realize it or not. And if you're going through a hard time, believe it or not, it's probably His feet that are the ones that are carrying you through this time. The other thing I want to tell you is I was young and now I'm old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. I've been through some very rough times. I've been through times where I would go to work and did not know what I would eat or if I would eat lunch. Going on payday, going to the bank and not having money, but owing almost $900 on payday, thinking I didn't get paid. And they're like, oh no, you got paid. That's how overdrawn we were. I've been in some very tough spots. And I want to say to you that trust God, give it to God. God will not let you go. People would share their lunch with me just on a whim, not even asking, hey, do you have anything to eat? They would offer, hey, would you like to, I got some extra lunch. You want some? God always watched out for us. And it's crazy. And lastly, if you're conflicted about giving or tithing to God, let me just tell you from experience, you can't afford not to, because you can't outgive God. You think that not giving to God His portion will give more into your hands, and it doesn't. I've had everything go possibly wrong, and it cost me more when I didn't tithe than when I did tithe. So give to God and watch what He does.
Amen. Words of wisdom. I like it. There's a movement. Pastor kind of talked about it on
I
Sunday
haven't
night.
seen the show yet.
No, I was going to say Sunday night. Were you there Sunday night?
No.
There's like this movement on that's going on right now where people like you can scroll through TikTok and there's 100 people saying don't go to church at all. Like churches, you don't have to go to a building, and then you have another 100 people, different people saying you shouldn't tithe. It's just like if you don't tithe, then how's the church stay open? Like how's the church able to work within the community if everybody said we're not going to tithe because we already have a smaller portion of the congregation doesn't give anyways. But if you say everybody doesn't tithe, well then what happens to the church and the community? So I think tithing is important. I think it's part of our sacrifice as who we are as individuals. We sacrifice our money to the kingdom because God, like you said, will take 2 loaves of bread and fish and feed 5,000. So I'm totally on board with that. So great words of wisdom, sir. One last thing after those phenomenal. Maybe I need to stop doing this. Maybe this will be the last time that I do it because you gave such words of wisdom, and now I think it's dumb that I bring this up. But like I told you before, this may be the last time we do this. I think this may be the last time we do this. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it before the words of wisdom. I don't know. But okay, before before we started, I made sure that you saw these 2 movies, and so we started this thing with a couple episodes back. We didn't do it for PT because he doesn't watch those kinds of movies, and the other girl was too young. But there are 2 movies. There's Face Off and there's Con Air. Have you seen both of these movies?
Yes, I have.
So Face Off, John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, they rip each other's faces off, switch them. Con Air, Nicolas Cage trying to get home to his daughter. So, in your opinion, which movie is better?
I think Con Air is more enjoyable.
Okay. So, you have broken the 0.
Woo.
So it was 2-0, and now it's 2-1. So I'm hoping that as we progress, that at some point it's like 100-99 or whatever it is, as far as the way this goes. So we have like an active count that we keep going with every new episode of, right? So like, you like Con Air. Why did you like Con Air more than you like Face Off, right? So. But I already know your answer because you just said it the other day. Like, yeah, I saw Con Air the other day. I haven't seen Face. You don't remember the last time I saw Face Off. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah. So, yes, the answer is you are wrong. Face Off is a better movie. And
I said Con Air was more enjoyable.
Oh. Well, I said which one's a better movie?
Well, to me, if it's more enjoyable, it makes it
Well,
better.
Then why did you just correct me? But no. But like you said, we still got more to cover. Getting to know you throughout these years that we've served together has been awesome. There are conversations we had in private that will never get out because that's just the way that it is with the relationship that we have. So. When you said that you wanted to come on the podcast, I was super excited that you were like, yeah, I'd like to come on there. I was like, yes, because even though we didn't scratch the surface of where I think you and I probably wanted to go, all that does is just leave room for episode 2.
Right.
So with that being said, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to impose on your show, but and then I started to wonder, do I even have anything to offer?
Of course you do. I learned a lot about you, and we've been friends for I didn't know that you lived in so many states. I didn't know your wife was a California girl. That's something that's brand new to me.
Interesting.
That's because we never actually,
it's not like, hey, my wife's from California.
Or like guys in general, we talk about everything but like the essential stuff, like as in because do you know how Chrissy and I met?
I watched your
Oh, well, that's cheating. But before that,
No.
Okay. So because we don't talk about that sort of stuff, I see you and your wife. I know.
I thought it was funny.
But ultimately, we just don't talk about it. So learning how you two met, and now that I know she had a boyfriend, I can give her a hard time about it. I'm like, hey, what the heck? I'm just kidding. But
Oh no, she'll laugh.
yeah. So at least I learned that about you. I'm sure that as we progress in this, we'll learn even more. But let me wrap this up before the lightning or whatever may shut us down. So I'm always supposed to say this. I try not to forget. But if you liked it, please like, subscribe, share. And if you want to be on an episode and you live in the DFW area, we're trying to expand into people that I don't know. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian, atheist, trans, anything. We're trying to talk to everybody. This is Aaron Ask America. So with that being said, this has been Aaron Ask America. Thanks for watching.
Aaron Ask America, we're talking real life. Truth, love, and struggle, no filters, no hype. From the heart of the people to the soul of the land, he's asking the questions you'll understand. Aaron Ask America.